listening to the Wrestfriends podcast, hosted by Iridian Fierro and Teddy Chavez.
Hey, Wrestfriends, you are listening to the Wrestfriends podcast. My name is Edie.
And my name is Teddy.
And welcome. I was going to say welcome back.
Welcome
I
back.
guess. Yeah,
Oh,
right?
yeah, welcome back.
Yeah. So last week, funny story, Teddy and I were supposed to have an episode come out, but after recording the whole episode, it was like an hour. So my Adobe stopped recording, which I think is like the limit of like how long you can record. And I noticed that it stopped. So I was like, okay, hold on. We need to, start a new file so we can record. And we listened back to it. It was the craziest noise we've ever heard in our whole life. Best friend, go for it. What did it sound like? So we were talking and all this time, like, do that sound and then I'll talk. So like the whole time that we were having a conversation, like it was like sounding, yeah, exactly.
Right? That's exactly how it sounded.
And Teddy and I were mortified. Honestly,
We were so upset.
My heart sunk because not only, I think it was like one of our really good episodes. We talked about the Royal Rumble and we had Paula on. Paula's, audio sounded flawless because it was like on the phone. So it was like all her own. But it was so weird from the beginning. Teddy and I had audio problems and we just recorded. I mean, the first couple minutes sounded good and then it started becoming distorted. So I don't even know what happened, guys, but it was very disappointing.
Very disappointing. Like, I left Edie's house so sad.
You
so
had a terrible
down.
day after, too.
Yeah. I really did.
I saw your Snapchat about your Michoacana yogurt.
That was so sad, restaurant. I went to the Michoacana, got myself a small yogurt, drove my sister home. And on my way back home, I dumbass did. Okay, I left it on the cup holder, not the car's cup holder, but the cup holder they give you. And I put it on the seat.
Yeah.
So my dumbass wasn't making sure that it didn't tilt or anything.
You didn't put a seatbelt on it?
I didn't put a seatbelt on it, and it spilled. And I was so sad.
Yeah, guys, I was watching this video on Snapchat, and it was tragic. There was literally yogurt everywhere.
Yeah, yogurt everywhere. Thankfully, I had a blanket on the car seat.
Yeah.
If not, that would have been very hard to clean up. But yeah, I'm so sad that my yogurt was like halfway gone.
I'm sorry that happened to your restaurant.
It's okay, restaurant.
But everything is a learning experience here on Wrestfriends.
It really, it really is.
I was talking to Teddy. I was like, I don't think we had this many problems when we were starting up our YouTube originally. I guess audio, we're learning. It's our fourth. It would have been our fifth episode, but it is our fourth episode of the Wrestfriends podcast. And this episode, we kind of want to tell you guys more about us and what it's like to be
us.
Yes. What it's like to be a wrestling fan as a female. We talk to a lot of guys and it hasn't been, the case in a lot of our, supporters, like the guys from WrestleZone, our Wrestle Rap, the guys from Lucha Outsiders. They've been super, super supportive, but other guys, not so much.
Not so much. A lot of the other guys just think that their opinions are valid or that we ask for their opinion.
Yeah.
Or that we're going to give a shit about their opinion, And they find it very easy to go into our DMs and just say dumb shit.
Yeah, it's really tough. As not only like we're already women, so we already get shit on constantly, but like it's a whole nother level of like being discredited and being hated on in the wrestling community. And it doesn't happen with everyone. We're not saying that everybody has like our stories and like that all men are like terrible, but
we definitely have way more supporters than we do people that are assholes.
Yeah, this episode we're going to focus on kind of just telling you our experience with some of the haters.
Yeah, it's important to talk about.
Yeah, it's because a lot of guys don't even know that this is happening.
Right,
They'll
exactly.
Like, So we're gonna shine some light on it, and we're also gonna have Paula on again.
But for you guys,
it's gonna be the first time that you're hearing Paula. But she's gonna be on closer to the end of the episode, and we also have an interview with one of our friends who is more social media savvy than we are, and more successful on social media than we are. Her name is Marlene, and she is also a wrestling fan. Where does Marlene live? In LA?
California.
Yeah. We're gonna, have her on also. I interviewed her, but that's also later on. But let's talk about the beginning. When I was born,
It was a glorious sunny morning. Were you born in the morning?
I was born at 4 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
Early riser.
Yeah, not right now. Not anymore. I don't know where that went.
I was born like at 1 or 2 a.m.
Más temprano que yo.
Way más temprano, yeah. Okay.
Best friend, was it cool to like wrestling when you were little?
Was it cool?
Yeah.
When I was that little, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But when I started watching more when I was like in 7th grade, hell no. Everyone thought I was weird. The only two people that interacted with me because of wrestling were these two boys that were nerds, first of all. And yeah, they were the only guys that I talked about wrestling with. Everyone else thought I was weird as hell.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was 7th grade.
It's
But
7th grade, exactly.
Yeah, that's how it was for me. You know, it was cool like in 3rd grade because then I had all my little friends to talk to who were all guys too. And I'd be like, oh my God, did you guys watch Friday Night SmackDown? And, you know, did you guys watch Raw? It was like, yeah, they would come and talk to me and it would be really, really cool. And then when I got to, 5th grade, 6th grade, and I was still doing presentations of like WWE, people were like, okay. I think it was one time in 6th grade, maybe 5th grade, where like we had a project to do of like, really successful companies. And I'm like, oh, I want to talk about WWE. And I incorporated like, WWE and all their wrestlers and stuff. And my teacher was like, I don't know if this really counts. It's wrestling. And I'm like, okay, WWE is a company and it's successful. What you mean? What are you teaching? I was super offended that she like didn't take my project seriously. And I was like, I'm going to show her. And I got a B.
So that's not bad.
That's not terrible.
That's not
but
terrible.
I was like, she probably didn't give me an A because she didn't think it was credible.
Because she didn't think, right, exactly. Yeah. Oh, what a jerk.
I was so mad.
What I remember doing in 7th grade was we had to write a story in our English class. Reading. What the heck is that?
Literature? Or like, what do you mean?
I don't know.
What was the question?
English?
Rest friend, I went to art school.
What was the subject? English? I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway. We had to write, I forgot what we had to write about, but I wrote a story and all my characters' names were wrestling names.
Stop.
Like I used Shawn Michaels, but I think I want to remember that instead of using Shawn Michaels, I used his government name, Sean Hickenbottom or something like that. Michael Hickenbottom Sean or something like that. Michael Hickenbottom Sean. I think that's his name.
I love how we knew that fact though.
Oh, I was obsessed with him, of course, but I just forgot now. And yeah, every character in that story were wrestlers, and I remember my teacher, first of all, she was a bitch. And when I turned in, I forget if it was when I turned it in or as I was writing it, she was like, the names in the story are very creative. Like, where are these names? And I'm like, oh, wrestlers. And she looked at me like, really?
I do.
Really? That's what I remember. But I also did have like a bunch of stickers in a binder. You know how you used to buy binders and put stickers or what's it called? You would print out pictures.
And you put them all over your binder.
And all over the binder. That was my thing.
Aww.
Yeah.
When I got to high school, I guess I stopped watching it for a little bit, like 8th grade to like sophomore or junior year. And when I was a senior, I picked it back up again. Throughout college, I did it too. College, I had a presentation I had to create a persuasive speech. So I had to persuade somebody of whatever I, talked about. And I wrote about John Cena and how John Cena was the best wrestler in WWE. So that was like, I had to persuade you on why this was true. And everybody in the class was like, what? You like wrestling? And like, oh my God, it was such a big thing. And even my junior year, people still questioned it because when I would tell them, oh yeah, I like wrestling, they'd be like, oh, who's your favorite wrestler? And if I didn't say like Stone Cold or
someone
like
that's known
Shawn Michaels, they'd be like, who?
From back then, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you really a fan? And I'm just like, bitch, are you really a fan? What you mean? You stopped watching in the 80s. And then I would tell people like, oh yeah, well, they'd ask about like certain wrestlers like Chris Jericho. And I'm like, oh yeah, Chris Jericho's cool. His contract's almost coming up. I don't know if he's going to resign or what he's going to do with his life. And they're like, contracts? What? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And everyone would like question me. They'd be like, how do you know that? And I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, why don't you know that? I would feel like the idiot. Like, what are you talking about? But they'd be like, oh, I guess you really are a wrestling fan. You know about all this other stuff, and I didn't know about this. And that's my guy voice.
I was about to ask you, is that supposed to be your guy voice? Oh my goodness.
But getting back to my speech about John Cena. So I convinced them, so I got an A. And they were like, oh, it's really cool that you know all this stuff about, John Cena. And I had to memorize it. So I was like super excited because the original idea for this project was like 5,000 reasons why I love John Cena.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't think I was going to come up with that many reasons. That was just the title of the presentation. So people would laugh. And the speech opened up with like, oh, John Felix Anthony Cena Jr. was like this, all this stuff. And everybody was like, who is that? And I'm like, well, it's fucking John Cena. That's his whole name. Like, you don't know this? How dare you? I got insulted. But yeah, it's just these little things. And people would be like, it's cool that you watch wrestling. You know it's fake. That's, oh my God, we have to get into that.
Oh, that is, yes.
I've been hearing that all of my life. And I'm like, okay, novelas are fake? Movies are fake? Like, I cannot.
Your whole life is fake.
And then I get so offended when people tell me that. Like, first of all, it is not fake. You cannot do a somersault. You can't even climb the steps.
That is the first thing that comes up to my mind when someone says, wrestling is fake. Most people that tell me this, that I could remember right now at the top of my head, are these tiny human beings that call themselves men. Like you said, they can't do a freaking somersault. They can't even jump off a ring, probably.
They can't remember lines.
They wouldn't.
They can't climb ropes.
Hell no. They probably wouldn't even be able to take a bump in the ring without complaining how much pain
how much
they're
it
in.
hurts. They can't even push against the ropes. Like,
oh,
they're not
hell
strong
no.
enough. Yeah.
Hell no. So that is the first thing that comes up to my mind, and that's why I really don't say anything. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. And also, watching wrestling and you thinking that it's fake, I mean, I've gotten to meet a lot of my quote unquote fake wrestlers. You know what I mean? You haven't met Michael Jordan. Whatever the fuck it is that you watch. You know what I mean? So they could say whatever they want, but look at where we're at. We're over here doing something out of what we love. What we love.
Yeah.
And we go to these shows and we have had the opportunity to meet some of our favorite people. They're at home watching their quote unquote real stuff, but whatever. That's what always has me going, It's like, okay, they can go ahead and call it fake. I don't care. I'm not going to sit there and explain to them why wrestling isn't necessarily fake. They don't deserve my time. Yeah. So I don't care. We're having the time of our lives. So Wrestfriend, try not to get offended.
Wrestfriend, I'll try not to. But
look,
me.
You met the Bella twins.
Oh my God, best day of my life. I cried. I was shaking.
Every time
I don't know what to do.
Every time they tell you that, like, wrestling is fake, right? Just think about that moment. Be like, yeah, sure, bye.
Okay, bye. I didn't even know how to act, Wrestfriend. I'm serious. That's another conversation. That's another conversation. That's a whole nother podcast episode, just dedicated to the Bellas. So when Teddy and I were starting off our, YouTube channel, our website, all of our social media, when we launched Wrestfriends, you could say, after a while, I think that's when we started getting DMs, right?
Yeah.
So there was this one incident of a rest friend. I still call him a rest friend. But there was this one guy who would always message us on our Facebook page. And I think we had just started doing like reactions to a couple of things. And he's like, oh, well, you guys need to react to, I think it was like a SummerSlam or something. I'm not really sure. But he's like, oh, you guys need to react to this, this, and this. He's like, when are you guys going to have it up? And I told him, oh, well, if we can get to it, we will. But the way our schedule is looking right now, we can only do one episode per week. And, we're really busy. So he's like, okay, I'll wait for it. And it was like a daily thing. Like every day he was messaging, when are you guys going to do this? When are you going to react to this? Why aren't you answering me back?
It was the same thing he wanted us.
Yes,
like the exact
it was
thing.
one specific thing. I think I had responded. And I was like, hey, sorry, like we're busy. I don't think we're going to get to it. And he like lost his mind.
So I had told him that because of copyright reasons, we couldn't do that for him because we had to get on the WWE network and watch it and react to it. How were the people going to know what we're reacting to? And we could have added that piece of the WWE network onto our YouTube channel. You know what I mean? So I told him.
We were having a lot of copyright issues.
Yeah.
So we're like, nah.
So I told him, I'm like, no, because of copyright reasons, we cannot do it. And then you told him, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You were really nice. We were both really nice to him. And what happened, Wrestfriend?
The first thing he did was he said he was going to stab us.
Is that the first thing he said?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But you said.
But he was very angry.
Yeah, he called us bitches. What did he call us?
Bitch heads.
Bitch heads.
He said, hey, bitch heads. And then he continued to talk shit.
And he was like saying, you know what? You guys are terrible. I'm going to stab you.
Stab.
Stab. Horrible people. And I was like, Teddy, are you seeing this? This is wild.
I was cracking up.
I was like, these are death threats that we're getting from this guy because we didn't react to like SummerSlam or the Royal Rumble of God knows when.
Fucking 1950.
Yeah. I was just like in shock.
I honestly thought it was hilarious, and I remember
I did laugh though.
Sergio did not think it was funny. I'm like,
I'm sorry. We're drinking tea right now, guys, because we're spilling the tea. I literally almost just spit out my tea.
No, he really didn't think it was funny. He had like the most serious looking face, and I was like, it's funny, you know. I'm like, come on, nothing's gonna happen. We blocked him. He's like, good. I'm glad you blocked him. I'm like, yeah, Edie blocked him. I blocked him again.
Yeah,
we made sure he was blocked.
He was blocked. We're like, and then even before I blocked him, I told him really nicely. I was like, you know what?
We were nice to him.
We don't tolerate that kind of language here on Rest Friends, or, you know, we don't support anything that you're saying. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to block you. Yeah. And then he was still like, stab, 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 stab. And I was like, yeah. So for disclaimer, he probably wasn't all mentally there.
I'm sure he wasn't all there.
Pretty sure he's not all mentally there. But also, I've never received a death threat before.
Me neither.
Before Rest Friends. I was shook.
I mean, I did once, but not because of wrestling.
No, I was shook. That was like something that started happening when we started Rest Friends. And a lot of times in our DMs, it's just like getting discredited. And this happens like a lot.
Yeah, not too long ago, someone who actually supports our stuff a lot, and if he's hearing this, he's going to know it's him, but I don't give a shit. He told us something about No, he sent us something about Goldberg, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And he's like, oh, da-da-da-da-da, Goldberg. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I didn't watch that or something. He's like, or I don't know what that is. And he's like, and you guys call yourselves wrestling fans?
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, we don't have to know everything in order to be a wrestling fan.
Yes.
And he's like, true. And I'm just like, I'm done with you. You know what I mean? I don't care if you support us all the way. Once you say some dumb shit like that, it's like, I don't care anymore. You know what I mean?
It's irritating because I feel like guys don't question themselves this much. Like if a guy meets another guy wrestling fan and they don't ask each other, oh my God, you know, what was the first match of Survivor Series in 19 something? Like what?
Yeah.
But when you're a girl, all of a sudden you get like quizzed before you are even qualified to be a wrestling fan, and it's just shitty.
It's very shitty. I see it on Twitter a lot too. Do
you want to call Paula so we can include her into this conversation?
Let's call her.
She's
probably on her phone right now waiting. Like
she's probably like, oh my God, Edie, you said you were gonna call me back and you didn't call me back. Best friend. I'm surprised she didn't text me and be like, well, why didn't you guys call me back? All right, so on the phone we have managed to contact Paula. So Rest Friend Paula is from New York. She's our New York correspondent. Paula, talk a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Hey, Rest Friends and everybody listening. My name is Paula. I'm 24. I have lived in New York my whole entire life. I'm a big wrestling fan, and I think the reason I got into wrestling was because of my cousin, because he was into wrestling like way back in like 2002, to be quite honest with you. And then I don't know what it was about wrestling, but since then I have not been able to let go of my love for wrestling. And as you get older, you know how everybody tells you that it's fake and whatever, but yet there's still that love that you have for it and this passion that you have. And I think that's what I've gained as I got older, especially for the independent wrestling brands out there. It's like you gain a whole new respect for wrestling. I'm Filipino. I'm the biggest dork in the world. Even though I may not seem like it, I'm definitely like the biggest clown in the world. Okay. And I think I used to get in trouble in school for that, actually. I was too much of a social butterfly that my teachers would say.
Paula said they were trying to hold me back.
That's so funny because me too.
Like, really?
I wasn't the class clown, but I was with the class clowns. You know what I mean? I think I'm telling you, I don't know if I've said this before. I laugh at everything. When something's funny, I find it 10 times more funnier than everyone else. You know what I mean?
Best friend, that wasn't the case with me. I was like super goody two shoes. Like I was like going to school early, helping the teachers like put up the bulletin board.
Oh my God, no, you weren't.
Yes, I was. I love to do it. But Paula, it's funny that you mentioned how, you know, people always tell you that wrestling is fake, because Teddy and I literally just talked about that. And how even when, I mean, we still get it to this day, even as like we're doing Rest Friends right now, and like people see us on YouTube and they'll be like, haha, you know, wrestling is fake. And I'm just like, oh my God, it just frustrates me.
It's honestly, I think some of the things that get me annoyed about it, it's not like, we hear it so much that it's kind of become like routine at this point. But I think the thing about it is like, oh my gosh, like I just had somebody that I worked with in the same building. They're like, oh, I hate wrestling because it's like, what's the point of it? They're fighting and it's all fake. And I was like I had to hold myself back. I think people who say that wrestling is fake, they don't understand what we see in like the bigger picture of what wrestling is to us,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's so hard because it's like, I feel like people only just see like, oh, like WWE and AEW or like those big brands. People see that and they're just like, oh, that just doesn't make sense. Like, how is this even real? Like, how is this even sports entertainment? But it's just like, you don't get to see like a lot of the more independent brands kind of, or just see where all the big names have rooted themselves like in the past. But it's like, it's so annoying just to constantly be like, oh, I don't know why you're still interested in wrestling. It's just something that doesn't make sense. It's a phase. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, not a phase. Like, once you get hooked on it, you can't help but get hooked on it and not let it go, because it's just, there's something that speaks volumes to being a wrestling fan. Because if we weren't wrestling fans, we wouldn't have ever met,
That's true.
And it's just like, yeah.
Well, Paula, like I told Edie, doesn't okay, when people tell you, oh, well, wrestling is fake, or it's fake, right? It is frustrating, but doesn't all of that go away when you meet your favorite wrestlers?
Oh, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. I feel like that's the most important thing, too. I feel like the connection you have with the people that you see on TV or just, like, in an independent setting, once you meet them in person and you gain, like, that personal connection, like, that's just kind of, I think, the most irreplaceable thing.
Yeah, and these are the moments that you don't forget, like, as a wrestling
Yeah.
fan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, anytime that you meet a wrestler.
Even though it
it's
sucks
insane.
because it goes by so fast.
Too fast.
It's over with, and in a matter of a second, you're like, wait, that just happened? Like,
Yeah.
that was so fast. It feels like it happened so fast.
It's a whole different story. It makes you feel like anytime somebody said, oh, wrestling isn't fake, and you're just like, okay, well, I wouldn't feel like this if I wasn't watching wrestling. I wouldn't get these moments if I wasn't a wrestling fan.
Exactly.
For a lot of people,
irreplaceable.
yes, and for a lot of people who don't know, we brought Paula on to be a part of Wrestfriends really early in when we created Wrestfriends. I think it was maybe like a couple months into it.
Mm-hmm.
And Paula saw us. You said you were watching Lucha Outsiders, right, Paula?
Yes. And I was just like, I think Sammy had given you guys a shout out. Or it was either Sammy or Mario who gave you a shout out. And I was like, dude, like, I gotta check these girls out. Like, and it's crazy because I've been always following just like women wrestling fans, because I've always had this saying or like this thought process in my head that like women wrestling fans need to stick together. It's so fucking hard because the amount of hate that a woman who is a wrestling fan can get is ridiculous. And
yeah, talk about that a little bit more, Paula.
Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I honestly have seen like the Twitter, like, that's why I feel like I need to stop Twitter for like a week, just to refresh from Twitter or Instagram or just any social media, because that's where all that hate happens for anyone that's a wrestling fan and is female. And like, we can post certain pictures. Like, like some girls will just post pictures because they're feeling confident in themselves. And some guy will just be out there, just a random Twitter troll, and just saying something about this person. You know what I mean? And I think it's also something that goes back to when Joe Alonzo, the guy who said, oh, where are all the hot women wrestling fans? And that's when the whole find women who watch wrestling trending topic happened. And I feel like that's what happens when you mess with women wrestling fans, because the unity that we all have, even though we have never ever met, possibly. Like, if we have never ever met, possibly, we're still going to stick together. We'll follow each other. We'll make sure that we have each other's back if somebody's showing any hate. And that, I think, is the most precious and, like, real thing that could come out of being a wrestling fan as a female.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, like, the assumption that, especially if you're at an independent wrestling show, if you're hanging out with some of the talent, people will just assume. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they don't care if you're there just to hang out with a friend or, like, somebody that you've known from a past interaction, and then you just want to hang out and talk to them. They'll just assume that you're automatically sleeping with somebody. And in my head, I just, like, it's so frustrating, but at the same time, it's like, you have to understand, like, if you know who you are and if you know that whatever's happening between you and the wrestler that you're seeing or the wrestler that you're trying to hang out with, there's nothing happening. Whatever happens between you two, that's between you two. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's so frustrating to have the automatic assumption if you go out to a fucking table just to buy some merch, people will assume that you're sleeping with someone.
Yeah, and this is
so annoying.
This is something that happens a lot in like the wrestling community. Like girls can't go out to shows looking pretty with their lashes done, smelling good, with their makeup on, you know, without somebody assuming, without one of the wrestling guys saying, "Oh my God, well they're just here to sleep with somebody."
Yep.
And even some girls go as far as to
Yep.
you know, say these type of things. But like, it's not my fault y'all don't wear deodorant to wrestling shows. Like, I like to look nice when I go to a wrestling show, you know? But I like to look nice when I go, you know, anywhere. But Paula, talk to us about this recent experience that you had with a certain term. I'll explain the term after you say it, but then we'll get into it.
Let's just say let's just clarify this and say that I was not even in attendance for this show. So it was for the 10th anniversary of Evolve in Philadelphia. So basically what happened was my friends that were there heard just some random human being, and it was a male, of course. I don't think we've ever met this person, and honestly, like, me and my group of friends that go to, like, Evolve, GCW, CZW, beyond, like, we're all pretty close-knit. Like, we're a pretty close-knit group that we go together everywhere, basically. They had heard someone basically describing my features, like how I look, my height, the fact that I was Asian, my hair color, just everything to a T about me. And then they're like, yeah, they hear him say, yeah, isn't she a ring rat? And I'm like, whoa.
And for those of you who don't know, so a ring rat, our Urban Dictionary, okay? I got the Urban Dictionary definition here. It is.
Oh my God.
Are you ready, Paula? It is a female who attends professional wrestling shows and attempts to sleep with crew members to get to the wrestlers, or sometimes the wrestlers themselves. So someone called Paula a ring rat at a wrestling show. And this is unacceptable.
Oh.
Like, extremely
That's fucked
unacceptable.
up.
It's a terrible thing to be called. Like, it's just like, it's basically calling you like a slut.
Yeah.
A whore.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. It was frustrating to me because not only was I not in attendance for this show in particular, I was in a car going to Melrose, Massachusetts to go see Evolve Wrestling in Melrose Memorial Hall. I was nowhere near Philadelphia at this time. I was literally in a car crying my eyes out when I heard this news, and I was heartbroken. I was like, I can't believe somebody would just assume that of me. Like, it hurt my feelings. I was just like, I cannot believe that I got assumed to be a ring rat. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I was like, I know who I am, I know what I've done, and I know that I am not a ring rat.
Exactly,
So
and
for you to assume
that's what's important, Paula. That you know who you are, and let me meet this person. I'll whoop their ass.
It's like extremely frustrating
Oh,
because
it's so frustrating.
I mean, I've never heard a story about a guy being called a ring rat or mistaken for a ring rat. Why? Because
it's not a thing.
it's not a thing.
Yeah.
Literally. you can't even be a passionate fan of wrestling as a woman without being like one discredited, called a ring rat, like death threats.
You're either not a fan enough or you're a ring rat.
Yeah,
there's no in between.
There's no in between. You can't just be, oh yeah, like she's cool wrestler, like she's cool.
Yeah.
That's not existent. Yeah,
Like I couldn't even defend myself
because you weren't
Because
there.
you were not
Sure.
there.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. So it was just like my friends just told me, and they were just like, we were just like going off to each other via cell phone and just going off to each other about just like, can't believe somebody would say this about you, da, 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 da. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like, sure, I go to a lot of independent wrestling shows and I hang out with some of the talent, but it's not in that sense of, like, I should not have to even explain myself about, like, how we hang out. But I feel like I have to, because when you're a female now and you go to hang out with somebody, like, you have to make sure that nothing seems wrong, I guess, in the way that you're hanging out in a weird way, right?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
what I was gonna say is that people, I'm very glad that you're talking about this because people should know how important this is. Because I remember when you came over to Chicago from New York to come meet us, and we went to Evolve, you were very worried about how you were gonna look talking to certain people, and I was telling you, don't worry, like what
how
do you
you were
mean?
gonna be perceived, yeah.
I didn't understand what was going on. I'm like, Paula, you're fine, babe, And
yeah.
I remember Edie telling me, because you didn't tell me that this happened, but Edie told me, hey, like, so someone called Paula a ring rat. I remember I was so upset. So the way that you were acting,
how upset you were.
the way you were acting when you came over, and you didn't, you were worried about how you were gonna look talking to all your wrestling friends. Then it made sense. I don't remember if I already knew and then I remembered, or if I didn't know yet, and then when I was told, everything made sense to me.
It feels like I can't hang out with the people that I consider friends. Like, if they, like, like, in my head, like, when I say friends, like, it's not to come off
Show
as,
off.
like, oh, like, look at me. No. Like, it's definitely not ever in that manner. It's, like, because I've gotten the chance to know every single one of them outside of the ring. Like, you know what I mean? Like, after a show, we'll hang out, get to know each other, talk, and just be really chill with each other. And anytime we see each other, it's like kind of like catching up again, like old friends, basically.
Paula, I don't know if we've told you, but when we initially started the channel, I mean, after a while, I don't know if we told you about the Facebook incident, but we got death threats one time from this one guy.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, we never told her?
Yeah, I don't think we told her.
Oh, wow.
But we did get death threats of like this one guy saying he called us bitch heads. And then he told us that he was going to stab us and we're going to die. And it was like a big thing. So we had to like block him. And this is a very common thing with a lot of women who talk about wrestling. And like, this is a very common thing. Like, as a woman, you have to keep blocking people.
Yep.
You get harassed.
Exactly.
You get these DMs, these unwanted pictures. Sometimes guys DM me and are like, oh, hey, I see your channel. If you want to get to know me better, or if you want to, hang out, we can do that. And then I'll be like, no, thank you. Like, I'm just here to talk about, wrestling. Like
that's the biggest problem with us. It's not like, I feel like that's such a hard thing for us to like overcome as females. It's like people never want to get to know us. It's either one or the other. They either hate us or they're trying to get into your pants, basically.
Yeah, that's a really good.
And
Yeah, it really.
yeah, there's like really no in between. You know what I mean?
And
so,
I
like,
think
I've been lucky.
Go ahead.
I've been super lucky to have met like very, like, I can say this very proudly, like very few male wrestling fans that are actually decent human beings that are not trying to be like a dick towards you or try to date you. You know
and
what
I think
mean?
that's why. I think that's why we make it such a big deal when there are, when like Edie was saying earlier, our guys from WrestleZone and the Lucha Outsiders, we make it such a big deal, and we're so appreciated when they shout us out or they just show us love, we, at least me, like, it makes me so happy because all of that does outshine the assholes, even though when the assholes decide to do their thing, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and because they are like so successful, so supportive, so good at what
Yeah.
they do, that they would be like, "Oh my God, you guys are good. You guys,
Yes.
we love what you're doing.
Yes.
Keep doing it." And they're very motivational.
Yes.
And I'm just like, "Oh my God, like this is what we need. Like I love you guys." That's why I forever have love for them.
Oh, forever.
Because
Oh,
some of these
without a doubt.
guys are
Without a
like,
doubt.
"Oh my God, I
Yes.
could not ask for better, supporters,
Colleagues.
Yeah, better colleagues.
Exactly.
That's
So profesh.
Oh, getting all fancy out here with the vocab.
So yeah, it's very nice to be supported by guys like them, and there are some people on Twitter who do show support and who aren't trying to be offensive.
There's definitely supporters everywhere, and at least this is how I feel. I'm the type of person that I try not to give a shit, and most of the time I don't. But sometimes, even when you don't want to give something so much attention and you don't want to care so much, it's hard not to care. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Those messages that those hate messages that we have gotten, or the hate messages that I have gotten, I don't give them attention, and I don't let it affect my day, but it still stays in my head.
Yeah.
And I still think about it. You know what I mean? And that's what sucks.
Yeah. And I feel like that's something people need to learn from. Like, I remember I went on a full-on rant last time on Twitter just about, like, how someone was calling me, like, that and something. And it hurts. Like, I feel like people need to really pay attention of what they're saying online, because what you say doesn't matter if it's behind your cell phone, a keyboard, or anything. Dude, that shit hurts. Like, it stays with you. Like, it stays with whoever you say it to. And that's why I'm not even gonna lie, I've been having, like, very tough, like, mental health days recently, where I don't know what it's like, just my anxiety and just something like very heavy waves of, like, sadness and stuff. But yet, I'm so lucky to have had a community like the wrestling community, and have met the girls like Alex, Lauren Moran, and Clea, and the Sheenom, aka Kayla. Like, those girls remind me every day, like you two do, that it's gonna get better, you're gonna be okay, and just nice messages about, okay, if you want to talk about it, I'm here, and all that stuff. Like, the sense of community within the wrestling fandom, if it had the impact like we have with all the people that we meet or are friends with, imagine how much greater the wrestling fans would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's crazy because, as women, we already go through so much bullshit. We already get judged on our looks and our appearance. And it's taken a whole step up, like a whole nother level in the wrestling community. Sometimes guys are just terrible.
Oh yeah. And I'm right there with you, Paula, with the same thing. I also suffer mental illness. I have severe depression and anxiety, and of course I have my terrible days. This week was one of those weeks, and until this morning I woke up and I told myself, I'm like, wait, every moment is different. And like you said, you have your girls who help you sometimes, and they help you, bring you up and everything. I have my people too, but sometimes my people can't do anything for me if, I'm not helping myself. And sometimes not even a nice message from my mom helps me. Sometimes literally just turning on my TV and watching some wrestling is what helps me and changes the way that I'm feeling. You know what I mean? And that is why when people tell me wrestling is fake, or when these assholes on the internet want to discredit our love for wrestling, all of that doesn't matter anymore, because when I turn on my TV and I watch wrestling, that's when it matters. That's when I'm like, this is what makes me happy, and everyone else can go suck it.
Yeah.
And that's a nice way to say it.
Honestly, I feel you 100% on that. For somebody to say that women wrestling fans aren't as passionate as male wrestling fans. Like, I'm speaking as a female wrestling fan. The fact that I can feel so empty, not like empty, like, oh yeah, like this and this. Like, no, like there's like a piece of me missing when I'm not at a wrestling event. You know what I mean? And it's just like the environment, like I think what makes me feel a little bit more whole is wrestling. And I hate to say that, but it's true.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Do you, okay, as much as we love wrestling, we talk about how much we love
All
wrestling
the time. Mm-hmm.
and how, you know, it brings our spirits up. If we're having a bad day, what do? We watch wrestling. We watch our favorite. Whenever we can, we go to a wrestling show, and it makes my freaking day, my life, you know. I love it, obviously. We love it. But do you guys ever have moments where you just need a break from the whole wrestling community in general?
All the time.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely.
I think it's very important to talk about because, yes, you know, wrestling, you know, it consumes us, you know, it becomes us.
Especially now that we have like the YouTube channel and the blog and the
Yes,
podcast.
exactly.
I feel like we have to catch up on everything.
Yes.
And let me tell you, wrestling is a process, okay? Because you got 3 hours on Monday, you got 2 hours on Friday, and then if there's a pay-per-view, that's like a solid 4 hours. You got NXT 2 hours on Wednesday, another 2 hours for AEW. That's saying you're not watching Impact, you're not watching New Japan, you're not watching or we're not going to a wrestling show or whatever. There's so much wrestling. I love it, but the fact that we got to cover all of this, it's insane. I'm not complaining because I love doing it, but sometimes it's just like, oh my God. Like I was telling Teddy, I didn't even watch Monday Night Raw this week. Like it was just a lot. Like I just wanted to come home
a good Raw.
and not do. I know, right? I heard. I watched like Ruby Riott came back, like Humberto and Angel Garza like went at it, which I'm like, oh my God, my two boys. What?
Like,
I was super excited, but it's
super good.
exhausting sometimes. I need a break. Like, and it's just. Life is already hard, and I love wrestling. Wrestling is an escape, but sometimes I'm just tired. Yeah. I'm just like, man. And even Twitter is just too much because you know how intense Twitter can get, guys.
Twitter, you know, oh my gosh. This is something that I was thinking about myself early this morning. I'm like, Twitter used to be... I started tweeting in 2009.
Teddy's an OG tweeter.
I'm an OG tweeter. And obviously Twitter for me, it's so different from 2009 to now, you know, 10 years later. It used to be a platform where you can vent and then at the same time just joke around, and it was all jokes, you know, jokes. It was all games. And now it's just, holy crap, it can be probably 85% toxic, you know, and 15% fun and games. And I don't know. Yeah, I've been taking my Twitter breaks, even if it's just for a day. Just for a day, I delete my Twitter app off my phone. Just for a little because bit. I know my dumbass, if I just put it on the last page of my, on the last slide of my phone, I'm still going to go on it because I'm addicted to Twitter. Yeah. But so there's times where just for a day I delete it and I'm just like, I'm not going to get on Twitter because people are just so toxic, you know? And it's not just the people that I don't follow that just pop up. Some of my followers talk shit too. Yeah. You know, some of the people that are close to me that I like, that I love, can be toxic, and I don't need that. I don't need to be seeing that side of people. And so sometimes I delete the app, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need this today. Maybe tomorrow.
Paula, do you ever take your break from wrestling?
Oh yeah, I literally, there's like, you have no idea. I feel like I don't have to be at every independent show, you know, or like any WWE show, or watch any WWE or AEW or anything like that. And it's just like, it feels so good. But at the same time, when you do take that break, like I said, like I feel like something's missing. Yeah. And it's like, there are days where like, I feel like I need like a mental reset. And for some reason, that mental reset is wrestling or attending a wrestling show.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, not going to lie. My mental reset this weekend is going to be the CCW 21st anniversary show, because I just like I honestly like need it. I wish jobs would give people personal days. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's something jobs.
We need mental health days at work.
We really do.
Yeah.
We need health insurance for part-time and mental health. Okay.
Like, we're going to get all up in there right now. But, like, honestly, like, I had to take a personal day on Saturday because work just felt too routine almost. You know, like, that's everybody saying that work is like, oh, like, work this, work that. Like, it felt a little too routine at the moment. And I'm just like, okay, I need something to get me out of this funk, and that, like, something is wrestling.
Yeah.
But for sure, like, Twitter breaks are so, like, I'm so happy though, because, like, even though it can get toxic, I'm really, really lucky to have, like, you girls and the girls that I've met through wrestling and the certain people I've met through wrestling that, sure, it can get toxic, but I literally am glad that I can say that I choose the people to follow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people I follow, I chose, and it's really comforting because they're still so, like, you get everybody's input through what's going on, and, like, it's so cool to see, like, everybody's, like, opinion on something, whether it's positive or negative, but nobody's starting, like, a riot about it. You know what I mean?
I would love to be on social media less. Like, literally,
Me
I'm
too.
so
That's-
controlled by
absolutely.
social
That's
media.
my goal for 2020.
Honestly, but then at the same time, it's just like, I can't. Like, this is my job.
That's what I remember. That's what I told you before. Like, it sucks because sometimes I want to give myself a 100% social media break.
Yeah.
A whole week. And I've done it before. I've done it for a week where I wasn't on any social media. And it felt amazing.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I can't be doing this too much because my best friend needs me on there,
miss
you
out
know?
because the wrestling world does not stop.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. It
contracts
doesn't
are
stop.
signed at midnight. Like, wrestling shows are announced crazy times in the day. You're just like, it's nice when I meet someone that is like, oh my God, you know, you're on social media a lot. That, you know, that's not good, or like stuff like that. But I'm like, you know, like, this is my job. Like,
But at the same
Yeah,
time,
basically.
I am very, 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 especially now, my thing is my mental health comes first.
oh yeah,
And I don't care if no one understands this, but if I find something toxic and I don't need it, I'm gonna give myself a break. If even I don't care if no one understands. And if I ever have to go a week without social media again, I'm gonna hit you up, best friend. I'm gonna be like, look, best friend, I'm gonna take a break.
but like we're very understanding about that because, like, you know, there's been times where we don't record YouTube videos
Yes.
because we're like, nah,
We're not feeling it.
We need a day off.
Yeah.
Especially because we've been doing this
Yeah.
like once every week.
Yeah.
For like a year.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
you know
sometimes
what?
twice a week.
Also, thankfully, like, you know, thankfully there's three of us.
There's three of us.
But you know, the ones always posting on Instagram and everything, it's me and you. So thankfully there's always at least one person
One of
there
us
that's got it. You know, that if I need a mental break,
Yeah.
if Paula needs a mental break, or if you need a mental break, you know, there's always going to be that one person.
that one person to go to. We always have an extra.
Yes. So that's the good thing. We're privileged when it comes to that.
Yeah.
We're very
and I
privileged
feel
when it
like,
comes to
you
that.
know what? If you guys want, like, I think that's something we can do one day. Like, if you guys feel like you need that break, and I'm attending an event, I'll take over the social media for one day. You know,
We're just gonna
like,
give you all the
If
passwords.
you guys
Paula.
want, you can just give me all the information, guys.
I'll just run all of the accounts.
like it's like I think that's the greatest part of us being together because you know Chicago, like honestly, there's some amazing like talent and just promotions out there in like the Midwest almost that like I'm like you guys have like the cream of the crop almost because you have had some amazing people come out of brands in Chicago, and I'm like, hey, I just come in and like slide into your DMs basically and be like, hey, hi, how you doing?
How you doing?
I can't believe, like, I really can't believe that's how we started, though. Can you believe
I
that?
I know. No, that's crazy.
Shoot your shot 2020. Paula did in 2019. Look how it turned out for her. She's doing great.
No, but you know what?
I
Speaking
get
of
it.
that, Paula, I can't do that. I think we do have a freelance show this Friday.
Oh, there's
And
a lot. Okay, listen. Paula and us live a very different lifestyle.
Yes.
Paula attends all indie shows, whatever time, whatever day. I don't know how she does it. Okay, Paula's like superwoman of New York over there, attending all these
Hey,
shows.
You know what, Paula?
It's honestly, if it wasn't for Mikey, a.k.a. NYC Indie Kid, or Evan, @hashbro Jones on Twitter. I would not be going to these independent wrestling shows. Like, they literally like help me.
Paula, I was
like,
just
about
going.
the independent wrestling shows.
I was just going to bring up Mikey. I was gonna give Mikey a shout out. Shout out to Mikey. That's my internet BFF. Yeah, that fucker goes to every single freaking show in
Literally.
New York and Philadelphia.
Everywhere. I'm just like, where do you even live? You're at these shows.
This dude is everywhere. New Jersey, Massachusetts, everywhere. So I'm like, dude, how do you do it? And he's like, I love wrestling. And it's like, I love wrestling too, but I cannot.
Yeah, me and Teddy will be like, man, should we go to this freelance show? Nah.
And
Man,
it's not
AAW has a really good lineup. Nah.
Yeah, and it's not them. It has nothing to do with the shows. It's us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We do live a very different lifestyle.
Like, we love, I mean, I feel like you can say that they're like more fans, but also like that's not discrediting that we like don't love wrestling. Cause we don't go to all
for
these
sure.
shows.
That does make them for sure way bigger
super
fans.
fans.
They're super fans.
They're in the Paula category.
Yeah, no, we're way down here. Paula's up here. Mikey's,
And then
all the way
Mikey's
up there.
number one right now. You had number one spot. We're gonna post a list.
I had already put out my Mania schedule, and
I couldn't even look at that, Paula. Honestly, when you tweeted that, I said nope, and I kept swiping because it was so much.
So I posted my schedule basically, and Jake Bad Tweets, aka @TigerDriver, checked him out on Twitter. Dude, like, he said I was gonna burn out, and I was like, you know what, man? Like, I don't care. Like, this is like the first Mania that I get to experience the independent brand on Mania Week. You know what I mean? And I want to be able to attend all the shows that I can, that I'm very interested to see. Like Bloodsport. Oh my God, Bloodsport. Just the concept alone. Like, I heard about it, I think, either SummerSlam week or last Mania week, Bloodsport. And it's basically no pinfalls and no disqualifications, and the only way to win is by submission or knockout. So it's like a very MMA type style show. All these different all the talent that's gonna be there in Mania week is ridiculous. Like, there's these shows that are coming from Japan that you won't get to see unless you fly to Japan. And I was like, without a doubt, going to all of those shows because it's something so different, and the experience itself is going to be so interesting because you get to see a different type of environment that you're used to coming from an international country to come to the U.S. and you're going to get to see that fan base and see how the fan base interacts with the crowd, and just all of that is so interesting to me.
Yeah, you see, and you, sorry, you can get back to that in a bit. You, speaking of the Japan talent, that's how powerful mental illnesses are. Remember, what was this? I think in November, Will Ospreay and Suzuki came, and they're from New Japan, and they came here, literally like 40 minutes away from where me and Edie live. And I was so down to go to the show. When they announced it, I was like, I'm going to be there. Holy shit. I cannot miss seeing Ospreay and Suzuki. The day comes, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I'm like, I don't want to leave my house today. No tenía ganas. I was like, man, I want to see them so bad.
Yeah.
Can you bring them to me? No, I'm just playing. Even if they would have brought them outside my house, I would be like, oh my God, no. Because, my anxiety that day was just over the roof, out the roof. So, yeah. Sorry, when you were talking about the Japanese talent,
that's
I was
what
like,
you remember.
yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like, I understand. Like, trust me. And, even the girls, like Lauren, Alex, Clea, and Kayla, they were just like, we're going to send you off to the shows with, Cliff bars. And, we want you to eat while you're at the shows. And I was like, I love you guys. Like, I don't know where, I'd be without you guys, honestly. Like, you guys being concerned is the fact that I might die. I love you. But, something that's crazy to me is, Joey Janela's spring break. Everybody has talked about Joey Janela's spring break, and I was like, I'm going this year. I have to. there's like no shadow of a doubt that I have to attend Joey Janela's spring break. All those different matchups that you don't think are going to happen at these big independent shows, and I'm so excited.
And I'm so jealous.
I'm not. I'm telling you. I mean,
jealous.
I am jealous, Paula, but like that level of exhaustion. Please take as many Cliff Bars as you can.
I will.
Stay hydrated,
Trust me,
please.
I'm sure the girls will not let me leave that hotel room without a Cliff Bar or 5. In my
Honestly,
bag.
it was like 3 tweets, Rest Friend. Literally, like 3 tweets back to back in a thread. Talk about all her schedule. And I was like, oh my God. Paula.
No, Wrestfriends, Teddy. Wrestfriends, Teddy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the schedule right now.
Oh my God.
Okay, so Thursday, Jimmy Lloyd, D-Generation F at 11. And then Texas Forever at 3 p.m., Bloodsport at 8 p.m., and then ICW at midnight. And then Friday, 11 a.m., is going to be Tokyo Joshi with DDT. 3 p.m., I believe, is Pizza Party. And then at 8 p.m. is going to be the Joey Janela Spring Break. And then like at 12 midnight was between Marcus Crane, Black Label Pro, and Keiju Battle. Saturday is Effie's Big Gay Brunch at 11. Duh. Have to go to that. Yeah. And then it's going to be Glory Pro at 3 p.m. And then NXT TakeOver at 8. And then WrestleMania at midnight. And then Sunday, Sunday is Sunday.
That's 12 wrestling shows.
Yeah.
Back to back.
But yeah, and I honestly think I might cut out one show on Saturday, and that might be Glory Pro, just because I need a break before TakeOver, because like that's the one thing the girls and I agreed on was TakeOver was our show. That's the show in the big WWE machine that we would attend NXT TakeOver.
It's good that you have a schedule
and
that you have your plans, because like that, you know what you're gonna do. But I know that you might end up doing something extra, or you might end up having to not do something because of exhaustion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and
So,
my question, how far away from each other are these shows?
Oh, babe, let me tell you, GCW thought of everything, because all of the shows that I listed are mostly GCW, and they're all in the same venue.
Okay, so you're not gonna have to be like, oh, I gotta leave now
so
because I gotta get to the next show,
and then they'll set up for the next
God.
one.
Okay.
No, thank God.
So you're just gonna stay in your whole seat for 12 hours.
I was worried about that. I was like, wow, not only are you gonna have to attend all these wrestling shows, but you're gonna have to, be running back and forth.
No, thank God.
Trying to get to them on time, and then especially when it comes. Okay.
So. Yeah, we'll probably give you the social media info so you could just post for us that weekend.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because
Teddy and I are going to be here. Rest Friend, you can come watch WrestleMania if you want.
I'm going to lay back on your couch, Rest Friend, eat your popcorn. You know what's so funny about her reading her schedule for WrestleMania weekend? Like, okay, of course, that sounds fun. Of course, I would love the opportunity to do that, I take it. But I probably wouldn't attend that many shows. And I was just telling my mom the other day, I was hanging out with my mom, and I'm like, she mentioned that I'm going to go see Aventura. She's like, you're going to go see Aventura, right? I'm like, oh, yeah, I am going to go see Aventura. I'm like, but I forgot what her question was. And I'm like, no, Ma, during the day, I'm going to be at C2E2. I got to work.
Yeah.
Edie's putting me to work. I got to go to C2E2. She's like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, but then I got to get home, get ready for Aventura. The next day, I got to get ready in the morning to go to C2E2 again. She's like, otra vez? I'm like, it's a 3-day thing, And I'm like, but then we're going to go to a wrestling show after that on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I have to wake up early again to get ready for C2E2 again. And she's like, why so much C2E2? I'm like, well, you know what? I had already thought to myself, like, okay, I'm doing a C2E2 Aventura, C2E2 Revolution. I'm probably not going to do C2E2 on Sunday because last week, all we did was C2E2 and we didn't go Sunday because we were exhausted.
Yeah.
But then...
Last year.
Oh, did I say last week?
You said last week.
Oh my God, last year we only did Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, because
we were gonna do Sunday, but then we were like, we're exhausted. We can't do this. And this time I'm gonna do more. I'm definitely gonna be exhausted, But then they announced that AEW is going to be there. My boys are going to be there Friday and Sunday. So how do I not go on Sunday?
And also we have a special visitor that weekend.
And we have a special visitor who is going on Sunday,
so
you know?
we have to be there Sunday.
So of course we have to be there. Now it's like, okay, I know I'm going to be exhausted. So can you imagine me being exhausted with the thought of what I'm going to do C2E2 weekend and then compared to Paula's schedule?
Paula's also got like crazy energy.
Yeah, that's true.
She's got a lot of energy.
That is so true.
Oh, dude, it's so funny you say that, guys. Like, I've had like so many people that I've met before, and now that like we're closer, they were just like, yeah, you know, my first impression of you was like, how do you have so much energy? I was like, oh.
Yeah, especially because Paula's tiny. When you meet Paula, she is tiny. Like, honestly. And we're like, where does this come from? She got like a size 5 shoe. Like,
That is so true.
And it's like, I think it's like the wrestling energy just gives me more energy to feed off, that I get more like hyped. It's like, if you ever see me at a wrestling show, guys, anyone who's listening, and I'm aggressively like,
you'll be aggressive is the right word, Paula.
Hell
I'm glad you brought that up, because when we went to Evolve here in Chicago, I was vlogging next to Paula. Literally everybody that came out, she grabbed my arm. She was like, oh my God. And she would shake the camera every time. And I was like, God damn, Paula, relax. And she was like yelling at the top of her lungs, jumping up and down. When I told her to stop grabbing me, she would grab on a Teddy. Like, Paula's intense.
Let's not even talk about when they would get hurt.
Oh, let's not.
Or they would take a huge bump.
Oh my God.
She shook me
Paula
to the
was
core.
like almost in tears.
You know what's so funny too about talking about this? Remember how I was pre-gaming before we got to the show? And we were in the car and I was trying to finish my strawberryta. And Paula's like, hurry up, Teddy. We got to go. I
gotta go meet them.
I was already tipsy and I was just thinking in my head, she was annoying me. I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like,
and I'm all in the car, all awkward. And Paula's like, we need to get out of this car.
And I'm like, shut up. But that shows how intense Paula is. And how chill I am.
Yeah. And how of a in the middle person I am. I was like, I'm just going to sit here till somebody gets out. I'm going to wait with Wrestfriends Sergio. We're very passive.
I'm like literally, when it comes to wrestling shows, I just want to be in the environment already. So Teddy, I'm so sorry.
You don't have to apologize.
Like right after
they make for great moments.
I apologize to you like at 10 times after the show. I was like, I'm so sorry, Teddy. I didn't mean to annoy you. And you were like, bitch, shut the fuck up. It's okay. I was just kidding. I was like, okay, I'm so
my
sorry.
God. Paula, this has been a great introduction to who you are. For people who are barely being introduced to you in the podcast.
No idea. Like and it's so funny because like I think what brought out I just get so excited, especially when it's people I know and that I like got to hang out with. I get even more excited. And I think you know that because you saw me when I saw the Skulk Boys come out. I was like, oh my God, yeah!
And then Paula was like, wait, you guys have to cheer and you guys have to dance and you have to do this. And I was like, damn, there's a lot of rules, Paula.
I know, yeah.
Oh my God, Paula, but thank you for joining us on this week's episode. You have to tell everybody where they can find you on social media. Give all of it out.
Okay.
All of it out.
So, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm pretty sure that they have tagged me on Twitter
on everything.
Bunch of times. But my Twitter is Paula Marie. Add an extra A to the Paula and add an extra 2 E's. So PaulaMar. Wow, I don't even know how to spell my name.
Paula doesn't know how to spell.
See, this is who I am.
Try it again, Paula.
This is who I am. Oh my God. So follow me on Twitter, Paula Marie, PaulaMarie, like WWE, but like
an
3
extra
E's
E
instead of WW. And then on Twitter, it's the same thing, Paula Marie. You guys will find me on there.
You mean on Instagram?
You know what? Thank you. On Instagram too, it's the same thing. And y'all, thank you for listening to how dumb I can be.
To how intense she could be.
Yeah, we're gonna have Paula on more often.
For sure.
So you guys get more of this.
My personality. reality. If you ever, I've had some people come up or like on Twitter, like just at me, like I saw you at a show, but I didn't want to say hi.
Oh my God, happens to us all the
I hate
time.
that. We're so
I
goddamn
mean, like,
popular.
if you guys are scared to say hi, please just realize I am the most doofus human being you can ever meet, and I am so proud of that because I am such a dweeb. Like, I'm really, like, I can't. I don't know how you guys are friends with me. I don't know how the girls are friends with me because I'm like a clown. I am a clown. Like,
I don't know
clown
either.
face, makeup, and everything. Like, I'm that. You know those memes where the clown is like painting on their face? That's me. I'm the clown of the group.
Oh my God.
Well, do you guys
There you go.
remember, before we go, okay, when Paula was here and it was her last night, literally, and she was debating whether to leave. We're not going to
We're
disclose
not gonna
why.
say anything, but she was gonna leave.
She was going to, she left us.
Yo,
Listen,
really?
she-
You gotta bring it up? You gotta bring it up?
Listen.
Okay,
This is gonna be this is more of a story for another time, but we're gonna give you the recap. Paula
She
said
left
she loved us,
us.
and then she left.
Oh, she was like, I love you guys,
But I'm
love,
leaving.
da, 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 da. Anyway, she left, and she
Excuse
was
me,
trying to.
wait,
She was
first of all,
no,
you
wait,
guys
wait,
were like,
wait
you
a
wanna
minute.
Go, you can go.
Wait,
Wait a
Paula,
minute.
you're gonna have a chance to rebuttal. Hold on.
We're gonna talk about this a whole other day, Paula. I'm just gonna real quick.
We're gonna go through it.
Just real quick. She was debating whether to leave or not, and I was telling her, Paula, just do it. And Edie was like, Paula, don't go.
Literally, I was like, for real, Paula, you're gonna come all the way from New York, and then you're just gonna leave.
And then Paula was like, I don't want to leave, but I do want to leave. And I was like, Paula, just go.
Yeah, so then I came to terms with that. I was like, all right, Paula, whatever. So then Paula left, right? And in the Uber, she called us, and Teddy was like, Edie's crying. She's so upset that you left.
But you see that shows how different we are. I said, go and do it. Go, just go. She was like, I don't want to leave you guys. I love you, but I do want to leave.
Yeah.
And then Edie was like, don't go.
I was like, well, if
That's
you don't
how
want to leave, then
different
don't
we
go,
are.
Paula. Damn. And Paula
No,
was like,
I
oh,
think-
but
I
I'm
think-
struggling internally. I didn't want to be the one to hold Paula back. I didn't want her to be mad at me and be like, oh, well, if I didn't go, I would have missed out.
But you
No,
straight up told her,
first
don't
of all,
leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you
Because
dare. Don't you dare. You didn't hold me back. But it was like, I had like the devil and the angel on my shoulder.
Yes,
It was like,
that's
Teddy
so
was
true.
Like, go, go, go. Edie
Yeah.
was like, no, go.
Don't do it, Paula.
Teddy was like, go.
I love that she just described this as the angel and the devil on her shoulders.
I had like both of you on my shoulder, like those like little like you're conscious talking
Yeah.
to you, like the good one and the bad one just being like, no.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
But
Okay,
also,
so then-
but hold on.
No,
But Teddy
no.
lied to Paula and said that I was crying because Paula left. And then Paula started crying in the
Oh,
Uber.
she really did start crying. You're so right. She
No,
really
no
did start
lie,
crying.
No lie, you guys. I was crying and like I wish y'all could have seen me. Were we FaceTiming or
Yeah,
were
Yeah,
we
we
were
were-
FaceTiming. We saw you.
We were FaceTiming. Yeah.
We saw the
No,
glossy
I was
eyes.
crying. As soon as she said Edie was crying, it started to make me cry, and then I was crying on the Uber, just like to where I was going.
And then,
But then she
crying.
got over it.
yeah, but then she passed me the phone and I was like, Paula, I'm not crying. Yes, se fue. Like, what else can I do? She was already gone.
Yeah, then she got over it. But what's so funny about all of this,
Yeah.
how we were like, Paula, I was like, Paula, go. You were like, Paula, don't go. And she was like, but I want to go, but I don't want to go. And then there's Sergio just there.
Sergio was literally there with us at the kitchen table. We were debating this, and Sergio said nothing.
Nothing.
The whole
Not a
time.
word.
Not when we were at the
No, but
wrestling
can we-
show. Not when we were
But can
driving.
Not
talk
in the
about,
car.
Like in the kitchen, at that same kitchen table, right before Evolve, you just saw all this makeup on the table. Like it exploded out of like a freaking box or something. Like there was tissue everywhere so we wouldn't make a mess. And then there was just all this makeup. And Sergio's like, you guys really need all of this? And like
Yes.
walks away. And I just started dying of laughter trying to like put concealer on. I poked my eye while I put concealer on because he just said, you guys really need all of this for a
was
wrestling
literally
show? And I
a
just
lot.
He-
started dying.
He
I was
couldn't
dying.
understand why we couldn't just share concealers and foundation
Yeah.
and stuff.
He's like, why is
Why
there
do
so
you
much
guys
makeup
all
here?
need all this difference?
Oh my God. No, but these are stories for another day. These are amazing. I forgot we had this much tea
That's so true.
for another time.
That's so
But
true.
Paula, thanks for being on with us this episode.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I finally got in an episode. It makes me happy that I can finally be a part of this, even though
Paula,
I'm
we have a waiting list
We
of
have a
people who
waiting
want to
list,
be
Paula.
on the podcast.
But we made sure that you were on here first.
We had to be like, nah, we can't put anybody else if we don't have Paula on yet. What? Who would
oh
we
my
be?
gosh, my heart.
Yeah.
All right,
I miss
Paula.
you guys. I really, really miss you guys. I want to be there again. Too.
She don't miss us enough. She's going to all these.
I was gonna
wrestling
say
shows
I'm
and
not
then
gonna
coming
say
to
anything until
Chicago.
she comes over here.
So we throw mad shade at Paula all day, literally.
I know, like, dang, I'm like the freaking clown of the group, but then I still get beat up with all the shade. Damn,
Paula can
guys,
be
I see
shady
how it is.
sometimes.
Just because I'm a 2-hour flight away from you guys, this is how I get treated. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
She don't come over here soon enough, and when she does, she leaves early.
She leaves.
Hey, if there is a store opening in Chicago and they ask me to work there, don't. Fine.
Bitch, Pro
Fine,
Wrestling
I
Tees
won't
is here. They're hiring all the time.
Come to college over here. Come on, Paula, hurry up.
Hey.
Hey.
With all the shade that's getting thrown at my way, I don't know about
She's
that.
like, I'm questioning it. I was questioning it. I'm just gonna stop. All right, Paula.
All right, Paula.
Bye.
Bye, Wrestfriends. Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.